Hello, this is Caden Garcia from the database group of the database design course. I'm going to be going ahead and showing off the insertion queries that inserts the data into our database tables that have been created through the creation queries from a previous video. First of all, I would like to say that our original database that we submitted in phase 3 had over 160 total sets of data that we inserted into it. I'm not going to go ahead and show all 160 sets because that would take well over an hour. So I'm going to go ahead and show off 2 sets of data from each database table. Really quickly, I'm going to go ahead and show you that all of our tables have already been created, but they're all empty. So I'm going to show the insertion of the data right in front of your eyes. I'm keeping purchasing order open because that's the first table I'm going to fill out. So right here, let's go ahead and run it, append it. I'm going to go ahead and get the next command, run it, and append, reset purchasing order, and there you go. That shows the order number for the purchasing order through the distributor that we're going to set it through, the order date, so the date the order was set on, and the price, so we know about how much we're going to have to charge our customers in order to make a profit. Alright, moving on to the next thing I'm going to be filling out is going to be the parts table. So I'm going to go ahead and paste this in here. This is just using the part ID and the part name. So each part ID has a unique part, so we can search it up easy and quick. And then the name of which the part is named, which in this case is converter. So I'm going to go ahead and append the row and insert the next part into our table, which is tire rim. So append it. Let's open up the parts table, and there you go. The 2 different part IDs, and then tire rim and converter. Alright, so moving on to the next thing I'm going to be filling out. I'm going to be filling out some of the employees we have employed. This particular point of our database really helps with the company because every time somebody gets hired, in this case Nathan Drake, we can just get their SSN, their first, their last name, type up this command, and there you go. There's another employee added to the database. So I'm going to go ahead and run it. I'm okay with appending it. And I'm going to add the newest hire, Mr. Trout here. I'm going to run it, and I'll go ahead, open up employee, and there you go. There's the SSN of Mike Trout and the SSN of Nathan Drake. And they were both hired to be drivers. So I'm going to go ahead, fill out the drivers table a little bit. This one, let's go ahead and check the SSN. This one, 123, yep, this one's for Mike Trout, so he drives a blue Ford, and this is his driver ID number. So let's go ahead and run it, append the row, and for Mr. Nathan Drake, he is bringing a black Nissan to the company, in which case he's driving. So I'm going to go ahead and run it, append the row, and show you right here the driver. There's the colors, the makes, the SSNs of the employees that are the drivers, and their unique driver ID number. So let's go ahead and move on to the next new hires. This one we're hiring Miss Lena Oxton. So go ahead and run and add her into the employee data set. And then we're also going to hire Mr. CD Lamb. Go ahead and run. And let's open up the employee, and there it is. CD Lamb and then Lena Oxton. These 2 were hired to be mechanics. So let's go ahead and fill out the mechanic table. Each of them are given, in addition to their SSN that they had, they're giving a mechanic ID. So this is the mechanic ID for Mr. CD Lamb. So go ahead and run it and append the row. And then for Miss Oxton, give her mechanic ID. Let's open up the table, and there you go. Both of them are filled out. So let's move on to the next set of employees we have. Mr. Fox Mulder. Here you go. So let's go ahead and run it. Now these 2 are going to be our secretaries that we're hiring, Mr. Mulder and Miss Sully. So we're going to go ahead and run them. The thing with the secretaries is they're assigned a client. So in order for us to insert them into the secretary secretary table, they need a client ID attached to them. However, the clients also have their own vehicles attached to them, so we can't make the clients yet until we have the vehicles made for them to link to. So next we're going to go ahead and insert the vehicles. So this one is a black Nissan 370Z. So I'm going to go ahead and run it real quick. I'm going to go ahead and show that Miss Sully and Mr. Mulder were added into the employee dataset. So that went ahead and added that into the vehicle dataset. Let's go ahead and add this burgundy Honda Civic. So run it, append it, open up the vehicles, and there's the black 370 Nissan and the burgundy Honda Civic. So with those vehicles in there, we can go ahead and insert clients into our database because they can be linked to the vehicle IDs that were just made. So let's go ahead and copy this into here. Mr. Adam Sandler definitely goes to us. We get the biggest clients. He lives in Tyler, Texas for some reason, but there's the address. In addition to his ID, his first and his last name, his phone number, I wouldn't recommend trying to call that. It's probably not actually his number. And then the vehicle ID, which links the two. So go ahead and run that. And then next we have a Mr. Dax Shepard. Go ahead and run that. And if we go ahead and look in clients, there are both of them, Mr. Dax Shepard and Mr. Adam Sandler. So go ahead and take that out. And now that we have the vehicles and the clients in there, and the vehicle IDs for the clients and the client IDs for the secretaries, we can go ahead and actually insert the secretaries into the secretary dataset. So let's go ahead and run for both of our secretaries we recently hired. Let's go ahead and open up both the secretaries and the employees and cross-check to make sure everything looks right. So we have SSN of 1233. 1233, that's for Mr. Mulder, which means this one of 145 is for Miss Sully. So that all works out perfectly. Next, we're going to go ahead and add the distributors into our data sets. So let's go ahead and copy and paste this in. This is for the tire rim part that we added earlier. So this part ID matches the part ID of the tire rim that we added into our parts data set earlier. So this is the unique distributor ID for Walmart, and then that's the part they're supplying to us. So let's go ahead and run it. That append worked. Let's go ahead and run this one. This is for the converter we added earlier that we get directly through AutoZone, just because they have, the best prices and the highest quality product. Distributor, there we go. So we have the distributor ID along with the name and the part ID. Next, we're going to go ahead and add in the tools data into the tools dataset table. This had to be put in last because it needed a mechanic ID that we added over here. So this basically just links the mechanic that currently has this part out. So we have the socket wrench. Let's go ahead and run it. Adds it to the tools table and the screwdriver. Go ahead and add it to the tools table. Let's open up tools and mechanic. So the mechanic ID is 528. So we go into employee to figure out who that is with a 781 SSN. So Miss Lena Oxton currently has the screwdriver out. So if by next week we go and somebody else needs the screwdriver and it's not there, we can look right there and see who had it last. Let's go ahead and we got to know who has the socket wrench because that's a very important tool for us. So a mechanic ID of 788, which coincides with a SSN of 335, goes to Mr. CD Lamb. So he has the socket wrench out right now. That is all of our data sets that we will be inserting today. Like I said, we had 30 employees, 10 from each subset, 15 of everything else, if not more. So we had about 160, 170 total data sets that needed to be added that we added into our original database. Just add just these couple of examples, two per took, about 10 and a half minutes. So that's only a fifth or less of what we originally had. And I don't think y'all want to watch a 50-minute long video of me inserting data sets into our database table. So I hope that gave a general idea of the processes we took of putting these data sets into our database just so we can make everything easier for our company. Just we go in and we look for a very specific thing. If needed, we can trace it back to the specific employee or the specific secretary or the distributor or anything like that. So yeah, thank you.